Hello guys, welcome back to this channel. In the last video we discussed about Spring validation, where we are validating our to-do payload, and in this class we'll be discussing about custom exception creation and handling. Let's demonstrate what we did in the last video. When we want to create something like this, we see gonna have this error message, so which is totally normal. But in this video we want to restructure our error message, and I want to make it more robust. So the first thing we need to do is to arrange our files very well. We need to create a package. I love to arrange my files. Let's call this error management. Okay, so in this error management, let's create another class. Let's call this error controller. This is going to be the class responsible for handling most of our exceptions, and I want to annotate this on with path controller advice. So now remember, we have a teeny tiny exception handler in this place. Let's move it into the class. We don't want to have this exception handler in this class that contains our endpoint. So let's move it here. Okay, so once you have it here, we expect that this application should work as expected, but it's not going to work. Yeah, so this is expected, and the reason being that for every class that is annotated with at error controller advice, we need to make it return the response entity. Okay, so let's make it a response entity that returns a map of strings, and we need to return new response entity of our errors. We need to give it a status. Let's call it HTTP status bad request. Okay, so we have this now. It should work as expected. Alright, so it's worked as expected. So what we want to do next is to create our structure for the error response. Let's call this, let's put it in a different class. Let's call it error response. Let's call it custom error response. Let's call it custom error response, and we want to have our status. We want to have our message. And we want to have our errors if available. Let's make it a map, just like you have it in the previous class. Let's call these errors. To make our code more simpler, let's annotate this with Lombok data annotation. This automatically injects the getters and setters and other necessary methods that we need. I also want to make this a builder pattern class that is going to make creation of the custom error response class object more easier. Now let's go to our, what is this class? Okay, error controller. Yeah, so we want to return our custom error response. Okay, of course we have a red squiggly line. Let's create our custom error response. Because it's a builder, we can join the calls like this. Our message, let's call it validation exception, since we need the validation exception. Yeah, so let's go our status. Let's give it HTTP status bad request. We want to extract this guy. Okay, then we want to have what's next? I think I have status message. Then we need our errors. Okay, let's call these errors, not error. Where's our customer? Let's call these errors. Let's Okay, so let's call it errors. Let's put our errors there. Then let's build. All right. So we want to return. Okay, let's extract this one to its own variable. Validation exception. Validation exception. Okay, so let's run our application now. Okay, now so we have a well-structured error response. What I want to do next is to create our own custom exception because of some special scenarios. For instance, if you go to this class, we want to say that we want to update a to-do. So what if the to-do that I want to update doesn't exist? So let's say we want to update this guy. Let's say if to be updated is equal to null. What I want to do, let's throw the generic runtime exception. Let's call this data does not exist. Okay. So let's run this guy again. We go to our postman. I want to update this particular guy here. Let's send it. That's how it's like. So there's this nasty error, internal server error. That's what happens there. So there's a lot of logs there. But what's most important is that we have this message here. Data does not exist. Okay, so what I want to do is to restructure this exception and let the front-end developer know exactly what is going on. So what I want to do is let's create our own custom exception. Let's call this not found exception. So we want to extend the runtime exception. So let's create our constructor. Okay, which is gonna take the message that I want to send to the front-end guy. I want to pass this to the parents class. Okay, so let's go back to our class. So we want to throw the not found exception. So when looking at this one, we know that the exception we expect from this place is not found exception if the data doesn't exist. So now let's go to our controller here and undo that exception with our custom error class. So what we need to do is we can copy and paste this guy and remove what we do not need. So we do not need this guy. Yep. And we need to make this one not found exception. Let's call this not found. Okay. So we are changing what we don't need. So we want to not found exception. We want to undo it to be not found. Okay, we want to undo not found exception. Okay, so what else? We don't need errors. It's just one exception. So let's make this new hash map. Okay. What do we need again? We need to let's make this not found exception instead of validation exception. Not found. Okay. Then we rest quickly there. Alright, so with let's make this undo not found exception. Okay. So we have this now. We should expect that we should undo the exception as expected. Okay, so let's run this guy. So let's execute this guy. So we see not found exception, or we see our validation message. Okay, so let's go back to this place. Let's change this guy. Let's make it EX. Let's get the message. Get message. Okay, let's run our guy again. Let's execute. Okay, so we have not found, data doesn't exist, and we have 404 in this place. With this 4 information, our front-end developer can make a reasonable conclusion about what is coming from the API. So that will be the brief class about custom exception handling and creating our own exception. Thank you very much for joining me in this tutorial. Do like and share this video. Do subscribe to my channel. It's going to help me a lot in creating more content like this that benefits lots of people. Thank you very much again, and see you in the next class. Happy learning.